Hello, 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 hello. It's been a couple days here. I started working. So lots to talk about, lots and lots and lots to talk about. Unemployment reaches a new record of 10 million people so far, and people are continuing to file for unemployment. Busy signs, busy signs, busy signs. The Chinese government has donated ventilators to New York State and New York City, but why can't we buy them? Trump fires Inspector General. This is the guy who kicked off the impeachment inquiry. So he was fired for being a snitch, essentially. So we will talk about that. Is the country headed towards capitalism, with millions of people, essentially every citizen receiving a check? Are we headed towards capitalism, or is this just a one-time thing? Next question: should you or should we be paying our rent? Should we be paying our utilities? Many people in the state of Illinois have begun to protest paying rent and going against paying rent, calling landlords saying that they're refusing to pay rent. So should we do that? Should we be going to work? As unemployment reaches a new record high and many of us are at will employers, is now the right time to actually stay at home when we are required to be at work? Or does this new stimulus bill come with extra FMLA for those who are essential workers? So let's talk about that, guys. So first off, people are asking, should we be taking out our 401k? Right now, interest on credit has risen to about 20%, and people are wondering during this financial crisis, should they withdraw their 401k? Penalties have been decreased in the 401k, so you can go ahead and withdraw without penalty. But the question is, after this recession is over and your 401k is in that long term thinking, do you really want to do that now? Is now a good time to do that? So I did some researching and I attempted to reach out to a few people who have way bigger 401ks than myself, and it seems as if everyone's losing money, $200 to $300 a day, $1,000 a month, depending on what you have in there, because the economy is headed towards a depression. So the question is now the time to sell your stocks? Is now the time to take out your 401k? There is a application that is being accused of stealing people's money. One of the apps that you log into and you can purchase stock automatically, things like that. The name of it is Riddick. And the source behind that, from what I'm reading from Vice News, says that people are losing money indefinitely, that they're playing into the stock market because they cannot figure out how to sell their stocks. So Riddick is getting away with this, which is a call Robinhood. They're getting away with this because no one can sue because it's the stock market. You can kind of play at your own risk. So if you do have that app, figure out how to do that and get your money out. And as far as your 401k goes, the decision is up to you. If you're losing more money than you're actually investing, then yeah, the time may be now to go ahead and take that out, sit it to the side as cash. And when all of this is over, if you did choose to be smart and just take a loan out on it, when all of this is over, you can just repay that loan with that lump sum rather than continuing to lose money, because the account can't go into the negative. So it'll just help ultimately long term. The NRA is suing New York governor because the New York governor has issued a stay-at-home order, which has closed all non-essential business. Well, the NRA is saying that gun rights are essential. People have the right to purchase guns, which is, true. But with this virus going on, what do you guys think? Do you believe that people should be out buying guns, not social distancing, or do you believe that gun stores are not necessarily essential during this crisis? So we will talk more about that once it actually hits the court. The Inspector General, Michael Atkinson, fired. He was not necessarily related, but he had a big deal to do with the Trump impeachment inquiry. So yesterday afternoon, he was fired by the Trump White House, as well as several other people. And people are arguing that during this crisis, and inspector general or an intelligence general should actually be in place because they have knowledge that goes along with what's going on. And with Trump firing people, he's not necessarily taking that into account as far as what's going on. So more news to come on that. The inspector general hasn't reached out to any media platform as of yet, so we don't necessarily know what's going on or how he feels. And the White House has not commented on it yet, but there are more firings to come after that firing. So we shall see. Several cruise ships are stranded outside of the Panama Canal and outside of Florida. Right now, 56 cases on all of these cruise ships of COVID-19 patients, 56, and then 213 out of all of these ships have symptoms. Earlier in the week, a cruise ship couldn't port into Miami, and there was someone on the ship that was having problems breathing. With this being America, if you dial 911, they have to service you. So these ships have just essentially been coming into Florida and continually to dial 911 to get these people off the ship, which is in return causing panic with inside of all of the hospitals and the medical professionals going over to immigration, things like that. The issue behind it and why the argument is standing tall on not allowing these ships in is because we already have a high immigration toll that we are servicing as a country. So when we look at our immigration camps and the actual non-documented immigrated workers and then non-documented people that are here on visas and just non-documented people, period, those are people that have to be serviced by the emergency room because everyone has the right to emergency care to be life sustained. So we're already overwhelmed with non-documented people, and now we have people from other countries who cannot return home to their countries coming to abuse the American hospital system because we cannot turn down a 911 call. So what do you guys think about that? I honestly believe that during this time, if you chose to go on a cruise, then that's your fault. You just kind of have to deal with the risk and suffer from there. But we have a travel ban. Our ports are closed. Stay on the ship or figure out how to get back to your own country. For those that are actually American citizens, I'm sorry that all of this is happening at this time, but it just makes it really difficult when hospitals are already overwhelmed. And then insult to injury, we're adding people who aren't even American citizens to this collective debt, which makes it even worse. Abortions in 4 different states are now banned because of the COVID 19 stimulus package. 8 governors managed, excuse me, 8 congressmen and senators managed to sneak in verbiage that will essentially ban abortions because they are or have deemed them non-essential service. So people are being turned away in Alabama, they're being turned away in Texas and Mississippi from abortion clinics. So we shall see if this verbiage maintains after the crisis is over, and we shall see if abortion will be completely wiped out of the United States because that's where it's headed. People or governors are taking this new federal law and essentially closing these doctors' offices where these abortions are happening and deeming them non-essential. So that's their way of ending abortion, which really sucks. Fear contagion. Fear contagion is when people do certain things to essentially help themselves, but running off of fear. So fear contagion is something that we'll be discussing within the coming weeks because that's what economists are believing is what's spreading the virus so quickly. People are panic buying, and when people panic buy, those who actually have the virus can't buy the essential tools that's needed, to sustain because people are panic buying, which causes fear contagion. You're overbuying things, overshadowing those who may actually need it. So stop overbuying, guys. New York is actually prosecuting different companies, and so are other states actually prosecuting companies that are hoarding medical supplies during the crises. So let's see how we can take care of that and figure it out. Ventilators coming from the national stockpile. Out of 100, only maybe 6 or 7 are working ventilators, which is what prompted China to donate ventilators to New York State. But the issue behind that is, why can't we buy ventilators from China when they're producing ventilators on such a mass scale? Why are we not allowed to buy these ventilators from the Chinese government? We buy everything else from the Chinese. Why can we not buy certain medical supplies and things like that? When they're the same thing, same company, but made just a little different. I believe myself, it's about money. Our medicine, our hospitalization, our things like that in the United States are twice to three times more expensive than they are in socialist economies. So the issue behind that is, if we buy from China cheaper, we essentially ruin this contract with whatever company this is that actually provides these ventilators. We're ruining this contract with them by buying from a outside vendor. Of course, you'll have to go through the red tape of legislation and things like that just to get it over here, which could take years, months, things like that. So shout out to China and their politics for actually donating those to New York City, in New York State, because like I said, only a few out of 100 of these ventilators come from the national stockpile, which is what everybody was waiting for, aren't even working now. So what is the problem? Moving further, what's happening outside of the U.S., protests and things like that in Venezuela continues, and the government of Venezuela is not believing that after the election of a new democratic society, so they're trying to vote in a new leader, or a new leadership structure. But many citizens believe that the powers that are within are just going to essentially put in place the same people. So protesters are constantly dying. People are continuing to protest against what's going on. Every single day, more and more people are dying. Just as of last night, 32 deaths and 16 arrests and 149 different injuries spurring from the country of Venezuela, because of what's going on. So that just makes it a big hassle. Moving back over into the United States, many people in the state of Illinois are protesting against paying their rent. So the question is, and the question that's presented to us as a people, should we be paying our rent? Mr. Wonderful from a very favorite TV show of mine, Shark Tank, he was on CNN yesterday, excuse me, MSNBC yesterday, and he was telling us, at this time now, call your landlord, call your bank, and defer payments as long as you can. Because with the financial state of the country, we as a people should be holding on to as much money as possible, which is why now is the time to actually take out your 401k, take out your stocks, take out your bonds, and like I said, just set the money to the side. Only use it if deemed a necessary emergency. But with the new bill that's going on, there's no actual verbiage inside of it that states, hey, landlords, you cannot evict tenants, or hey, landlords, you cannot do this or you cannot do that. The best thing we could do is reach out and say, hey, I'm not working now, as many other Americans aren't, and hopefully they will work something out with you. If not, then we will, as people, join the citizens of Illinois and say, hey, hold your rent, do not pay. If they cannot help us in this time of financial crises when banks are supposed to be giving out loans. We'll talk about that here in a minute, which is madness. But at a time when banks are actually supposed to be giving loans, no one has been able to even take a loan yet. So that leads to the question, where did all of this money go, or where is it going? Moving to that, Chase Bank, US Bank, and Wells Fargo has decided, until the federal government comes out with regulations and loan guidelines, they are not giving loans to small businesses nor businesses. They are just essentially going to hold on to the money. Call your senator, call your congressman, and see what's up with that. Small businesses are essentially going to be filing bankruptcy here whenever this pandemic is over, because those loans that were supposed to be provided to the government had no actual verbiage on payback rights, or what happens in certain scenarios, or who all of the money should go to and who should get what. And banks are having to decide on that using credit versus using it towards a stimulus to actually help the society. Loan forgiveness really didn't have verbiage inside of the bill, many banks are saying, or at least that's what Chase is saying. So more research in that is is going to come. We're still waiting on the first person to get approved for some of these loans because I know you can apply now, but many banks are saying they're holding off until the federal government can give some verbiage on what's actually going on. Moving to the election, Biden has reached out to Bernie Sanders and stated that he's going to start the vetting process on picking his vice presidential candidate. Many people are waiting for Bernie Sanders to drop out of the race, but me myself, I still have hope for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders still has hope for himself. But looking at these delegate counts, and with three other states due to vote here in a couple days, if they continue to vote, um, we'll see. But right now, Biden has a strong lead with 1,194 delegates, and that leaves Bernie Sanders with 878 delegates. Nothing against Biden necessarily, but I am a Bernie Sanders fan. So we shall see. Wisconsin has a primary coming up, and so does Michigan, and another state has one coming up. Republicans are essentially forcing Michigan into keeping their primary when it's supposed to actually be. But with the coronavirus going on, many people are falling towards voter suppression. Voter suppression is when the government or an entity of people suppresses another entity of people from voting, and that's what we're probably going to start experiencing here pretty soon with a lot of voter suppression. Moving back over, staying here. What's up with that? We are in a new era of drugs. Two children two people were in the hospital. Two children are hospitalized, if I can get that out right, in Utah for eating Nerds candy rope, laced with THC. About 60 of these things were given out to different families and things like that, but only two were actually hospitalized. These two particular candy ropes had 400 milligrams of THC in them. So the children experienced a psychedelic catastrophe, and they are still in the hospital as of today, which is kind of crazy. The food pantry of Utah has come back and said that they feel amazingly sad that this has happened and it wasn't done purposely. Everything that's donated to the food pantry, of course, is given out to those who have less than. But as far as tracking where this particular candy came from, they said that they cannot do that. So where I'm going to end this today, um, will the economy, will the society look the same after all of this is over? With bankruptcies hitting a new skyrocket, unemployment reaching 10 million, small businesses are going to close. Many businesses who are deemed non-essential are going to close. So those mom and pop stores, those neighborhood stores, things like that you see and visit every day, many of those won't be around after all of this. So that leads us to the question: what's going to happen to all of those jobs? Will unemployment continue? Should I be calling off work? Things like that, because you don't know what's going to happen. So all I can say is, for now, yes, things are going to look dramatically different after this contagion is over. But the question of it is that what is it going to look like with children being out of school and distant learning becoming the new norm, and working from home has become the new norm? Will that be the continued norm after all of this is over? Because I'm sure businesses are saving a lot of money just by providing laptop and an internet versus laptop, internet, building services, building maintenance, and the actual building itself. So let's think about that. What is this all going to look like when it's over? Rather than thinking of the present and this death rate that continues to rise, let's think towards the future now. Let's think, what is this going to look like, and what can I do now to reshape my tomorrow? Yes, you're losing money in your stocks. Yes, you're losing money in your 401k. So let's fix that. Let's take that money out. Let's set it to the side, and let's just hold on to it until this is over. If it decides to blow over, many people are thinking, hey, this may be like the flu, may go away in the summer, but what if it comes back in the fall? Will children be able to return to school? With a attendance rate dropping in many public schools daily because children do not have at home internet. Children, 1 year olds, 2 year olds aren't necessarily knowing how to use a computer. What is our education system going to look like? What is our politics system going to look like? What are our neighborhoods going to look like? There isn't a Walmart on every corner, but there is a liquor store that sells cigarettes, that sells alcohol, candy, things like that. And they are deemed essential, so they may be closed for the next few months here. Will they be able to recover from this? That's a question nobody knows. So, like I said, like, subscribe, follow. I am on Google Play, Spotify, Anchor, and any other podcast channel out there. And also on this YouTube channel, I will be moving to a once a week schedule from here on out because I am working. And rather than limiting it to 15 minutes, I'm going to try to see if I can push it to under 30 minutes. Today I'm at 21 minutes and 4 seconds. So until next time, guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow. Thank you.